All right, so let's talk about one that's going to be a little longer, and that's going to be practice days. We all like to get our practice in. I know a lot of us prefer to have, at least a handful of days when we get to a water. We travel all this way, we want to be able to practice. How are we going to do our practice days?
So the Kayak Adventure Series definitely has a unique rule, and it's just you're allowed 4 practice days, within the 2 week window before the tournament starts on that Friday. So, for example, let's just use Georgia for example because it's just easy. It starts on May 3rd next year. So your official 2 week window of practice to get in 4 days of tournament fishing, and you choose those 4 days, is April 19th. So between April 19th, Friday, April 19th, all the way until the day before the tournament. So that's whatever, May 2nd. You have 2 weeks, and you get to choose what 4 days. Okay. Now the first thing everyone's always going to say is, well, how do you enforce that? How do you know someone's not out there for more than 4 days? And I would just say to you, the same way that right now, where other tournament trails out there, whether local or national, have oh, practice window starts 7 days before the tournament. Or last year, Bassmaster, it was 3 days. That was it, starting on the Wednesday. Well, how did we know that someone wasn't getting 8, 9, or 10 days? Or how do we know someone, last year, for example, wasn't pre-fishing Monday and Tuesday and didn't start on Wednesday? In every scenario, however you write this rule, we don't know. There is no way to know. The only way to ever
The
find
honor
out would
system.
be the honor system. Yeah, and I believe majority of all kayak anglers, if not, are on this rule at least, are honorable. And the polygraph and everything else in the rules that we talk about, you must submit to the truth verification test, things like that, which is a polygraph. Hopefully that kind of helps alleviate some of that, especially given that, look, you're not winning millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to change your life and to be prosecuted and go potentially lose your job and everything else just over, what, a few $1,000 is not worth it. So hopefully that's keeping people away. But let's just throw out a hypothetical on a couple things. Well, one, this does allow local kayak clubs and tournaments to be able to hold events the 2 weekends prior. And speaking of local, if you are local and you don't want to waste vacation time fishing the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before, as your 4 days before tournament Friday starts, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you just want to fish on the weekends because you only live an hour and a half away from tournament waters, or 2 hours. Well, that gives you the chance to fish the Saturday and Sunday, 2 Saturdays and Sundays before, and then Saturday and Sunday the weekend before. And that's 4 days without burning any vacation time. So the other hypothetical is, let's say that, uh, God forbid, someone breaks this rule and they fished 6 days on the water. Okay, I mean, they still have to go out there, catch the fish, and obviously we can have a chance to catch them. They cheated in some way, but they still have to go out there and do all that for it to even really matter. But in other tournament settings right now, there may be unlimited practice. There may be, or 7 days or whatever it may be for that tournament series, anything out there. And typically it's the folks that have the more time on the water pre-fishing that have the best odds to win. And therefore, a lot of the folks that are, fishing these tournaments, let's face it, we don't have a ton of full-time tournament anglers, but this gives everybody a fair chance at winning without taking off just a crazy ton of work or vacation time, because those are the anglers that we need. We need everybody, right? But we want to make sure that the folks out there with full-time jobs and stuff don't feel like, well, how am I going to compete against these people that have 7 days or unlimited days on the water when I can only take off, a day and a half or two of work anyway? And so I would much rather, if I'm that person, which, I mean, I'm not fishing these, but I am that person. I've got a job and I've got kids, wife, family, dogs, everything. And I would much rather be competing against the majority of the field, if not 100% of the field, that's following the 4 day rule, as opposed to a rule that allows 7 days or unlimited practice. And because I'm still only going to have a day and a half or 2 days to pre-fish, at least the Kayak Adventure Series, I do know that somebody else might get a little bit more, but it's only like a day or two more, not just crazy amount of like 5 or 6 days more than I'm going to get. So I'd rather be competing against the entire field like that, and maybe hypothetically one or two people break the rule, than fishing against the majority of the field or a good number of the field that has way more days to pre-fish than I do, because that definitely is an advantage. So we want to try to make it fair for everybody.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I mean, when I was up at La Crosse, a local guy was actually telling me about how he had been fishing the weekend prior, and I'm talking about like not that weekend, the weekend before, and he had no idea that he was not allowed to fish then because he worked full time and he could only fish on the weekend. So unbeknownst to him, he had actually broken the off limits period because he fished when he was able to. And he got no more pre-fishing in prior to that because that was the only time he had. So I think by this rule, that guy would have benefited because he would have been within the legal period. Those are his 2 days, and then the 2 days he fished the
Mm-hmm.
following weekend, and he was good to go. You know, he got some practice in. He didn't feel cheated because he was a local. So because
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
think it'll work
locals, let's
good.
face it, they're not going to take vacation if you fish local. You're going to fish when you can. So
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to work out. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I think it's fair for everybody. And I mean, you're going to feel good. You hate sitting at home when it's unlimited practice. You see all these pictures and videos of people already on the water. At this location that could be whatever, 4, 5, 10 hours away from where you live, and they're just cracking fish left and right. And you're sitting there. You have to work. So that's just the reality. Majority of people are not full time kayak anglers out there, and even on the big national trails, right? So
yep.
just hopefully this helps level the playing field and gives everyone a very good shot at competing for the title. If not, just switch and go microbagging.